Auto insurance can all seem the same until it comes time to use it. So don't get stuck paying more for less coverage. Switch to USAA Auto Insurance and you could start saving money in no time. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply.
USAA.
Hilton brings you new ways to stay. With experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
The Kryptonian prophecy will be at last fulfilled. The Son becomes the Father. The Father becomes the Son. Farewell forever, Kal-El. Remember me, my son.
Hello and welcome to Unequal Sequel. My name is Dave and I'm one of the two hosts of this precious podcast.
And I'm Rich and I'm the other host of this precious podcast. You can think of me as Charles to Dave's Brian because he's a sad, lonely little man and I'm his robot friend.
Ouch, okay. The premise of Unequal Sequel is very simple. We ask our guests their best ever sequel, worst ever sequel, and finally their dream sequel.
And sometimes we'll drift off and talk about things like movies, but sometimes just life in general.
And sometimes we do drop big spoilers for films you might not want ruined or haven't seen. So if that happens, go off, press pause. Have you thought about taking up darts? Darts is fun. It's an easy sport to do. Take up darts. It's great. Because on today's episode, we are joined by Sam Gilbey.
Sam is an incredible illustrator and artist. He does a load of film and TV posters. You will have seen his work. It's amazing. Go and check him out. He is incredible.
We're very excited to sit down with Sam and chat all things sequels with him.
These are Sam Gilbey's Unequal Sequels. Enjoy.
So we do have a warm-up question we always use to get the brain juices flowing. And that question is, can you remember the first sequel you remember seeing and getting excited about?
Yeah, I can. And I think, and obviously I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was Superman 3.
Okay, Rich.
I love Superman 3. There are not many people that like Superman 3.
Yeah, I mean, me too. And obviously, when you're a kid, a lot of that has to do with, that was, as far as I know, my first kind of big trip. Although, wait, what year is Superman 3?
83, I want to say. I could be wrong, though.
Yeah, because it's either that or Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, 83. It was 83.
Yeah, the same year. So that would have been...
Good year.
Yeah, good year for for me, for starting to go to the movies. And I was trying to think, because obviously back then, you'd be waiting for... So I think I'd seen Superman 1 and 2 by that point, but that would only have been if they'd have come on TV by then.
Yeah.
For the Christmas Day film or whatever. So I think they probably had, but I can't be sure. But yeah, Superman 3, I can distinctly remember just the opening where you got Richard Pryor getting the cash out of the cash machine, and then, bits and pieces of it. But like for most people my age, we're all scarred by the woman getting taken by the computer, the evil supercomputer, and kind of getting becoming a weird cyborg. We're all kind of scarred by that.
I've never seen Superman 3. So
Okay, so yeah.
Don't be looking at me like that. I've never seen Superman 3, but I have seen the others now. And so is that the storyline? There's a supercomputer?
Yeah. So
it's a very 80s computer.
Very 80s. It's like a huge, it's like in a volcano or something.
In a volcano?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. And Superman's got a fly there, and there's they fire missiles at him, and then it goes to a video game thing where you're seeing them looking at it's so 80s. And it is basically a Richard Pryor vehicle, really.
Yeah, I've kind of been waiting for someone to pick it as either a best or worst, or a dream. So I haven't watched it yet. But the idea of a Richard Pryor and a Superman film always feels odd to me.
Yeah.
But Rich goes on a bit quite often how much he loves it.
It's weird, but it's also really funny. Like it's really fun. Like, admittedly, it's probably not the best Superman movie, but I just really like the jokes. It was my first Superman movie too, and yeah, I just thought it was hilarious. Like, I didn't get all the jokes, I don't think, when I was a kid, but yeah, I thought it was great.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Richard Pryor is just he's funny just by being on screen. He just has that that energy. Yeah, so I love that. And then Return of the Jedi. So that's the other one, I guess, like the same year, and so in Bedford. We had what was at the time the biggest movie screen, I think, in Europe, definitely.
Oh, really?
It was a 2-screen cinema. So when I say biggest, I think it was maybe not necessarily the screen, but maybe the auditorium. So it's like an old school theatre where there was like a balcony, and I have really vivid memories of it. It seemed massive as a kid, but I think it genuinely was much bigger than movie screens are today. And there'd be intervals in the movies where there'd be ice cream, stuff like that, all that kind of thing. I don't know if that was like after a kind of cartoon short where they would do that, or maybe when they're just changing the reels for a big movie, like halfway through there'd be an interval. And I remember like Return of the Jedi with the Ewoks and any of the wide shots with the trees and the forest, it almost felt like, I can sort of see it now, where it almost felt like you were up in the trees because it was just this huge, this huge vista, and it was pretty epic. And then they knocked it down, and now it's a little. But
that's going to be one of my next questions.
It's heartbreaking.
But that sort of ties into. But the funny thing, part of the reason it got knocked down was Milton Keynes, which is the next sort of town, next city. They opened the first ever multi-screen, which was called The Point.
Yes,
in the 80s, right?
We're in Leighton Buzzard, so we're just up the road.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so familiar. Yeah, so I remember seeing Superman 4 there, and of course some of that is filmed in Milton Keynes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and we were all excited. So in a way, it's kind of my fault, all of our faults for getting all excited and going to multi-screen. And then, that led to the decline of the one in Bedford because it only had 2 screens. So it'd be like wherever the big movie was, that would kind of play all summer, I guess. And then there'd be some other thing alternating throughout. So yeah, it was, now it would probably be being able to make a resurgence at some point because it was full space. But sadly didn't kind of survive into the 90s, I don't think. And we got another multi-screen in Bedford. Fond memories anyway of that place. And getting to the Ghostbusters, Return of the Jedi, Superman 3,
Amazing.
And only 2 of those gave me terrible nightmares.
That happened to my childhood cinema in Aylesbury as well. It got turned into a care home. Just gutted. Right. Is it a proper kind of Art Deco 20s, 30s cinema, beautiful, and it was derelict for ages, and then got turned into a care home. Great.
It's really sad when that happens. Were you like a VHS man? Did you go to the video shop on Friday nights, Saturday nights with mum and dads?
So you made me laugh because I wish to be a VHS man.
Oh,
my dad, who was like a computer programmer, he insisted that Betamax was the better format. So we were one of those people. We had the Betamax, which meant that we could only record stuff off TV,
right? Because
you couldn't rent anything for the video shop. So the video shop to me was like this kind of dream place that I would only get to go to if it was like a friend's birthday party.
Yeah,
they picked out a movie, and it'd be like, I don't know. I think I might have seen Back to the Future kind of on video first and things like that, or even then later Ninja Turtles, that kind of stuff. So to me, like the video store was this hallowed place that we didn't get to go until quite a bit later when I was more like, my mid to late teens kind of thing. So the childhood stuff was always like, waiting for the movie to be on Christmas Day on TV and then doing it and then watching it over and over, or hoping, someone else had a VHS at a friend's house. Yeah.
Was your dad like, it's going to be the year of the Betamax?
He was really.
For how many years was that? Was he hanging on to?
Oh, I mean, from my perspective, it went on forever. It was a big, but I remember, just stuff like, recording the Transformers cartoon. Then I'd be trying to pause it to work out how they drew the Transformers transforming.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
But you'd have to press it like 5 seconds early to try and time it to the pause and all that stuff. So kind of fond memories of it. But yeah, then finally getting a VHS later and then being able to go to the video store, it was like, yes, I've made it. And then I would be there all the time. So when I was, I guess from like 16 onwards, I'd be down at the video store most weekends, almost trying to catch up with stuff in a way.
Did your dad try laser discs?
He didn't experiment that much. I mean, even before, I mean, even getting the Betamax was hard because I remember one of the first movies I really wanted to see, which isn't a sequel, but it was the Spider-Man movie from the 70s, and it was on TV, and I wasn't allowed to stay up for the whole thing. And we didn't even have a video recorder, so my dad recorded it on tape, on audio tape. So I watched the first 20 minutes of this Spider-Man film to like the ad break, and then had to listen to it. And I can still sort of like hear it. It was pretty weird and freaky. It probably better not to have seen it, to be honest.
Yeah. Did it work? Did it give you the same senses? Did you enjoy it?
I mean, my spidey senses were tingling, I guess, but like, one of them was. Yeah, so anyway, good memories. But I think all of that stuff in a weird way gave me this kind of extra excitement for cinema.
Yeah.
So when we got to go to the cinema, or when it was a friend's birthday party, watching a video, in a way that felt elevated because and also just in that era anyway, it wasn't like, movie trips were going to be further apart anyway.
Yes, they were.
You're waiting many years for a Star Wars thing and all that stuff. So I think it generally, and you're a kid, so it all just feels more exciting anyway.
Yeah. Did you understand the Star Wars buzz by the time you watched Return of the Jedi? Did you?
Oh yeah, I mean, I was massively So I was well excited for Return of the Jedi.
Oh wow!
And had quite a few toys and stuff. And I remember, I think it was I was in WH Smith, and there was some leaflet about StarArs, and it said, this must have been when Return of the Jedi was either just about to come out or had, and it was George Lucas is working on, the next 3 films in the saga, and this would have been 83 that this was made, right? So then I was thinking, oh my God, this is incredible. There's going to be more of them, and obviously we had to wait what seemed like an eternity. And actually now it was only 15 years, right?
It was long enough at that point. Do you agree that Return of the Jedi is the best Star Wars film?
That's my feeling in my heart.
Yes,
because I was the right age, and the first one I saw, upon reflection, I would, say Empire is probably my favorite.
Okay.
But Return of the Jedi, I love it, and I love the Ewoks, and, I have, a lot of fondness for it. And I think, I remember when Luke, in the beginning, Luke comes in and, into Jabba's palace, and it's almost like, whoa, how long has this been? He seems like a total badass compared to before. He feels like he's changed, partly kind of playing that to kind of, to make an entrance kind of thing. But I remember being really impressed by that kind of change in his character, and he seemed more like a master at that point.
Yeah, he looked good in black.
And he looked good in black. I mean, who doesn't? But he pulled it off nicely. And so, amazing times.
Sam, what is your best ever sequel?
Well, I presume you've already covered Paddington 2. And, but I thought it'd be really interesting to talk about Superman 2, the Richard Donner cut.
Yes. Okay.
Nice.
And we've just talked about Superman 3, so I had to avoid all.
So let's go back a bit further.
Really, all other Superman questions.
Yeah.
Why the Richard Donner cut in particular?
It just, I think the first thing I would say is I always really enjoyed Superman 2 anyway.
Right.
Again, being young, and just the idea that there's 3 supervillains, that's already awesome. And, Terrence Stamp just does this epic performance. He's proper kind of chilling and really kind of going for it as the bad guy. And I think I remember I was getting hyped because I seem to remember you'd have these kind of making of things that would be on the TV around the time. So I remember the big kind of scene where there's the big battle, in Metropolis between, the three baddies and Superman and all the kind of wind effects and stuff. And I kind of remember there'd be like something, this is going to be even bigger and more impressive than the first film, and they'd be really hyping up. So as a kid, you're just like, okay, great, I believe it,
Yeah. So you had, I just want, because so Superman 2, the original cut was good in your eyes. When were you aware that there was this other cut that Richard Donner, because I didn't really know the history of it until reading up for this. Yeah. It's a bit mad.
Yeah, well, I guess I think I was literally in HMV and the DVD was just there. And I was like, I mean, maybe I'd seen about it. I don't know. But like 2005, I think, was when they released it. So I immediately picked it up and and I think I'd heard, because when you're a kid, it's just like, you're not aware of directors and I think, regardless, obviously the Superman films vary and generally get worse, right? But Christopher Reeve is always impeccable. And, so it was always just like Superman, whatever's going on around, he's always going to bring the performance as both Superman and Clark Kent.
Yeah.
So I was always there for that, regardless, because that felt just so kind of pure and true, right?
Yeah.
So, but just the idea of being able to go and then see the director's vision and then finding out that, they basically filmed 1 and 2 back to back.
Yeah.
And he got fired. I guess, was it before 1 had been released?
Yeah.
Yeah. Even and the studio thinking it was maybe going to be a flop, and then it was a big hit. But then they didn't want to pay to then get Brando back for the sequel.
Like his stuff was already filmed.
But they'd already filmed it.
Yeah.
So in a way, it's like the best sequel in the sense that it was just like amazing to get to see this version that, it's the kind of thing that was obviously through movie history, I guess, has happened quite a bit with directors getting fired and you never get to see what they plan to do. Like, I don't know, like Lord and Miller doing some solo a Star Wars story, right?
Yeah.
Maybe amazing to see why that didn't work out, but to get to see the Donner version of like most of, it's quite clear that it's most of what he would wanted to have done, but not, they have to use some of the Leicester footage, some of the theatrical footage just to kind of make it work. But it's sort of like, it plays it a bit more serious. And I mean, the main thing is really weird that it's such a shame they didn't get time to reshoot it when Donner was still there. But the casting, the film, so the bit where Lois confronts Clark saying, I'm so sure you're Superman, and in the screen test, she's got a gun.
Oh, right.
And in the theatrical version, it's like this weird thing where he ends up revealing, she's suspecting he's Superman, and he kind of reveals it by putting his hand accidentally on purpose into a fire, and then it's not burnt, and she sees, and then it's like, okay, yeah, it's true. But that doesn't really make any sense when you think about it. Whereas in the screen test, she says like that, the first time the mistake I made was I didn't bet your life. And then she gets the gun out, says, I'm so sure you're Superman, and then she shoots him. And then he does the thing where he's like, oh, God damn it. And the amazing thing that he does where he changes character simply by changing his posture, taking his glasses off,
Yes.
That kind of magic trick where it's the only way it works that you can't recognize him as Superman with his glasses on. It's because of how he changes his whole persona. But yeah, then of course, but she's fired a blank, so she's outwitted him. So that's so much better than what they ended up doing.
Yeah, it's brilliantly cut as well because it's just the screen test, and it wasn't the screen test with each other; it was with other.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So his hair is like changing in between the two.
Yeah.
And I think in both of them, it's like he's not gone to the gym yet, so he's like super skinny. But the fact that it still works
is great.
Great. Yeah.
We know you're a fan of Superman 3. Superman 2, was that a cinema trip? Because that's not a bad film, the first one, like the original cut.
No, I don't think it can't have been because, I was born in 1977. So is that 79 or 80? But
80, I think, yeah.
Yeah, so I'd only been 3. So it must have been one. I must have seen it on TV. And possibly what I'm remembering about this kind of making of, maybe that was like, around the time they were putting it on the telly.
Yeah.
And then Superman 3 was the first kind of cinema trip. But yeah, I was all in. And I remember, the backs of cereal boxes and doing doing transfers, and obviously I was already drawing by this point and drawing all these characters, and I just absolutely loved it.
Oh wow! And the music is still quite
Well,
iconic.
and the music, the music, and also I have vivid memories. I guess even in the third one, but just the lettering effect as that flies over you, and it's just like magic. And when that theme tune comes in, it just does. It felt like magic. And I guess that's what makes you as a kid kind of fall in love with the sort of power of movies. And looking back at it now, compared to what we've got now with the MCU or whatever, and the sophistication of all of that, the special effects or whatever. But, obviously you can make the case that we never would have had any of that if it weren't for, that kind of early trailblazer. And, Donna talks a lot about, they approached it with verisimilitude, where that was their sort of mantra of like, be true, like have fun with it, but be true to it as well. And that really comes across still, I think.
It's really fun watching it back. And I couldn't really remember Superman 2 very well, to be honest. So when I rewatched this cut, I wondered what was different, and I had to do a bit of reading. And there's a bit at the end, like you said, and that the gun bit and the beginning bit. But it played really well. Rich, you're a big Superman fan, so
I've never seen the Richard Donner cut actually, so I didn't manage to get hold of it to watch it. I've watched the theatrical cut, but does it still have the scene at the end where he like beats up the guy in the diner? Yes. Okay.
Still has that, but that's after. So there's a weird thing. I mean, obviously, the worst bit about the first movie, they end up doing the second one, but the kind of reversing the world to make it to reverse time. I mean, obviously that's a terrible idea, and now it's like it just seems awful. But apparently, so basically that is in the second one in the Donner cut, because the plan was that was going to be the end of the second one, but the motivation being that it was all about having Lois forget so that she could go back to her normal life. I mean, it's not a million miles away from obviously Doctor Strange in No Way Home doing a magic spell. I mean, so it's just about, so it's a bit of a weird thing where 1 and 2, the continuity is he reverses time twice. Whereas, obviously, if you're going to do it once, mate, and then, you're going to have to live with it after that.
Yeah.
But obviously they didn't go back to, because at the time, I think the point was they wanted to have the best ending for the first one. So they wanted to have that spectacle of like reversing time in the original theatrical release. And then they never got back to do a new ending for 2. So that ends up in Donna's cut. But there's like a battle at the White House that's not in the theatrical cut. That's like where you've got the 3 baddies kind of really. You've got some stunt people doing some impressive work in that scene. Yeah,
I was reading that most things they hadn't shot when Donna left was the villain stuff.
Right.
So I think they completed filming with Gene Hackman by this point, so he didn't come back for the reshoots.
That's right, so Gene Hackman's not really back,
But he's great in this movie. I think he's still brilliant.
Yeah.
So they put a man in a wig and they filmed from behind him for a few bits.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so you get a bit more Gene Hackman, and but there's just little beats that are kind of taken out. So in the bit where the super baddies are like doing the kind of big wind effect, and then there's a guy's in a public phone box. And in the original version, I remember as a kid, like kind of finding it amusing, but there's the guy, the phone box has fallen over. He's getting pulled along the street and he's kind of still on the phone.
Brilliant.
So there's that, but that's gone from the Donner one. Like you still see him on the phone box, but they don't have the little bit where he's like getting dragged along. So it's like some of the sort of sillier bits are just sort of cut out from it.
Yeah.
I kind of like the silly bits though.
Well, I know. That's the thing. It's
rewatching it. It didn't feel like it's a film that's being cut from like editing wise. It felt really smooth, and it really works. The Richard Donner cut. You've got kids. Have you showed your kids the Superman 2, the Richard Donner cut yet?
Actually, not yet. And they've seen. They probably have seen. Yeah, they've seen 1 and 2. And then, I haven't quite gone into, and that was probably a few years ago. So now it might be time, but also now, we sort of are at the point now we'll go to see the Marvel movies at the cinema. So that's great. It's great to be at that point. I mean, and I'm super excited for the new James Gunn Superman. Like,
yes.
Bring it on. Yeah. I'm really, sort of hoping, but also excited for that one, because that could be a really great trip to the cinema for all of us. in a way that, that had a big impact on me. But, I can't pretend that watching the movies now, they're going to be like thrilled by them, because the sort of the
effects,
the character, the characters and the casting and the performances are all excellent, but maybe the bits around them not so much, or just compared to what they're used to now, that they don't hold up. But again, but equally, it's all about the characters, so I'm sure they would still enjoy it. But
I love the positivity, but having enjoyed 3, and you've watched 4. And I don't know how you feel about Returns or Man of Steel, actually. I've just forgot about, we had all that madness. How do you feel about all those films? Like, 4 is shocking, right? Even as a child, you understood that was a bad movie?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think so. But
did you realise that's when films could be really bad?
Yeah, I did. I suppose. But again, Christopher Reeve, he's bless him, he's going for it. He's all out. So
it's the baddie in 4 that's so rubbish.
I was still hanging in there for that. Yeah, but they're fighting on the moon, and you can see black curtains behind them.
There's a bit when he's flying over Metropolis,
and it's just
a still screen. Oh no, it's not even milk. It's like a still screen, and the boats aren't moving or anything.
Yeah.
And the bad guy's power is he can make his fingernails grow.
And they dub him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they dub him really badly.
So Superman Returns, that wipes out Superman 2? 3, does it?
Yeah, I think it's meant to be, but it's meant to be the Donner cut of Superman 2.
Yeah.
That is kind of, that is still, because that's the other thing that Richard Lester didn't like, because when Superman and Lois get together in the Donner cut, that's before he's rescinded his powers, right?
Right.
So then there's a suggestion in Superman Returns that the kid could be Super.
Yes.
Right. And but then in the Lester version, it's after.
Right. Okay.
I think that's right. Because Lester really didn't like the idea of that would just be, crazy. We can't do that.
They do get to it quite quickly.
Yeah.
When she finds out he's Superman, she's like, let's do it.
Yeah. And in the Lester one, he's flying off to get ingredients for a lovely meal and all this stuff. So yeah, but yeah. So it's just but Superman Returns, I don't know, I kind of, it's a very romantic, I kind of like the romantic elements of it, so I did in a way like the vibe of it at the time. Right. But again, it's just another battle over real estate, isn't it? And
yes.
That's all Luthor's kind of got as a scheme. So it kind of falls a bit flat there, but and I guess it's weird that even thinking about it now, in the context of Luthor and Spacey and everything.
Yes.
So yeah, but I thought, Brandon Routh, I thought was
he looks like Superman.
He looks brilliant, and I think he did a good job in both the roles, and he was kind of believable. So I like that part. I mean, Henry Cavill as well. Man of Steel I had a lot of problems with, like Kevin Costner as the dad, because in the original movie, Jonathan Kent's death is he has a heart attack. So the point is that's Clark learning that there's some things he can't do anything about. But Kevin Costner is in a tornado and he's about to get sort of swept away, and he's like, "Don't come and save me."
Yeah.
He's like, "But surely that's the point. Maybe revealing your powers at that point wouldn't be so bad if you could just save your dad."
Yeah.
But, you're a
that's
father.
A good point, actually. It's it's a weird.
You could argue that's what makes him a darker character, but it always felt to me a bit like it was trying to almost make him more of a Batman character. But I think what you want with DC is you want that contrast. You want Batman to be as as dark and gritty as possible, but Superman to be as light and bright as possible. So yeah. But yeah, David Corenswet, not familiar with his work really, but he looks the part, and I really have loved the Guardians films, especially out of the Marvel saga.
Yeah. I hope they get the balance of Clark Kent and Superman right this time, because I feel that's where the previous Zack Snyder films let down. They didn't have enough goofiness, and that's what Christopher Reeve is so good at. Yeah, like you said, when he changed from Clark Kent to Superman in that scene, is incredible.
Magic trick, really.
Yeah, it is a magic trick.
You don't need the effects.
It's like a joke now. You're like, how can you not tell
Yeah.
that's him? It looks exactly the same.
But you can't, because he acts so differently. Like you say, he almost kind of like straightens himself up when he's Superman. When he's Clark, he's all kind of like bent up, and then as soon as he's Superman, he kind of unfurls, and he's a completely different person. It's such a good performance. It really is. And
it's cool. What I really love about it is you get this sense that it's like Christopher Reeve is playing Superman, and then there's the extra layer where then he's as Superman, who is his true character, playing Clark Kent, and like he's having fun on top of that, pretending to be this bumbling guy. And it's just so good.
It's a great scene when he tries to explain that to Lois.
Yeah.
Just before they have sex. Okay, go on.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Temptations Cat Treats. Your cat will come running for the perfectly irresistible Temptations Creamy Puree and Temptations Lickable Spoon Cat Treats. The best time to feed lickable cat treats to your cat is anytime. Feed by hand for a playful moment, in a bowl for a creamy treat, or as a topper to make mealtime fun. Visit TemptationsTreats.com to learn more.
Out here, there's no one way of doing things. No unwritten rules. And no shortage of adventure. Because out here, the only requirement is having fun. Bank of America invites kids 6 to 18 to golf with us. For a limited time, sign them up for a free 1-year membership, giving them access to discounted tee times at thousands of courses. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/golf with us. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America. Restrictions apply. See BofA.com/golf with us for complete details. Copyright 2025 Bank of America Corporation.
Got another little question for you. And this is not the worst question. It's not your worst sequel.
Right.
But what has been your most disappointing sequel? So it doesn't even have to be a bad sequel. It's just one you went in high and you came in low. And this can be at any point in your life.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be an early one. It can be a recent one.
Yeah, for me, I'm going to have to say it's Thor Love and Thunder.
Yes.
I was so excited because I love Ragnarok.
Me too.
It's just this magical blend of sort of humor, but with just enough of the serious side of the MCU and the drama and the tension between characters, and a sort of a viable threat from a villain.
A good villain in that film.
They need to step up and kind of get a ragtag team together, like a mini Avengers or whatever. But yeah, it's so good. And then they're getting Taika's coming back. He's going to do the sequel, and it just tips the weight of the humor, just tips it over, and it just sort of takes all of most of. There's still some good stuff in it, and I still Chris Hemsworth as Thor is always fun to watch. But like I remember because at the end of Endgame when it's like Thor's going off with the Guardians, it's like as Guardians of the Galaxy, and it's like, oh yeah. So I was thinking like maybe Love and Thunder would be that.
Yeah, that would have been good.
Yeah, do like Guardians and Thor, in a kind of joint movie. But and they kind of tease that. They have that at the very beginning, but it's almost like a montage of like, there's one scene, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
One planet they go to, they just totally destroy and then and then head off and split up. So it's just I don't know what happened, but
I quite like Jane in that Love and Thunder. I think that she's the best bit of it. But again, the Christian Bale's baddie isn't great.
I think he's good in that film.
I think he's fine. It's just not.
He doesn't work in the film.
No, that's the thing. Yeah, it doesn't fit in the film. Like
he doesn't sort of succeed at anything, though. Does he kill any guy?
I don't think he does.
Apart from the guy at the beginning. So it's like, again, like why Infinity War is great is because Thanos succeeds, and then then you got obviously Endgame to like figure it out. But yeah, there's no sense that this Christian Bale villain is gonna. He doesn't seem to get anything done. Really.
He doesn't really know, and he should be a really good villain on paper. He's a he's sort of the justifiable villain, isn't he? I love a villain where you're like, oh, actually, he's kind of got a point.
Yeah. Gods are shit.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, right. I've just had a flashback that Russell Crowe's in this film doing an accent.
God. Russell Crowe.
Oh, yeah, that's a choice as well, yeah.
A choice. Did you enjoy that bit?
No, and because you're thinking, oh, Russell Crowe's in it, and that's cool. Like from a casting point of view, that should again on paper that could have been brilliant. And then I don't know, just plays for the humor side of it, and there's no gravitas to it, and it's like, but you need that, you need that sense of the hierarchy of gods for that to really work. So. Yeah, but I mean, Natalie Portman's great, Chris Hemsworth, great, but equally, it doesn't. We go back, the kids. Our favorite is Ragnarok, and we watched that just recently, and that still holds up really well.
Yeah, that's great.
I love that.
Do you think like Taika believed his hype too much? Do you think that's possible for a director to do that, or he was given too much free reign?
I mean, possibly. I was thinking, maybe it's more that because everyone loved Ragnarok, then. Maybe people were being, I don't know, around him were being less, assuming he had it in the bag.
Yeah.
And we'll just let him, do his thing because it worked so well before. And, you can see the temptation for that.
Yeah.
And then, it's always that thing, isn't it? Maybe there weren't enough critical voices, but equally, maybe that was just the story he wanted to tell. And just, and so much of it, I guess, like anything, it's like in the edit or... There's probably different takes or different cuts that could have changed it slightly.
Yeah,
you end up where it would have worked a bit better. There's that kind of the black and white fight on that planet towards the end. It's pretty cool, and you got the light spinning around them, and there's some quite interesting visual stuff in it.
Yeah. How do you feel about Marvel films? Are you one of those people like the first? What was it, 20 odd were brilliant, and now recently it's kind of fallen off the cliff a little bit, or are you been like a skeptic?
No, I'm always there for it, but recognise that I think a lot of it had to do with COVID, I guess, and then this kind of switch to Disney Plus, the switch to the shows, just happened to kind of come at a time where maybe like after Endgame. And then, I mean, I really love like Spider-Man Far From Home.
Yes.
Which is a nice way, adds a little extra, what Peter's going through after Tony's gone. That works really well and is really funny. But almost like after that, then you could just probably take a breather, then reset. And then, the multiverse saga is definitely... not as strong as the Infinity Stone saga.
Your face there was great. How do I put this politely?
But equally, I'm well excited for Fantastic Four.
Yeah. Thunderbolts looks good.
Thunderbolts looks good. So, like anything, like I think it was amazing to build up to Endgame. I almost was like, I was expecting it almost like needed it to have a lull. Maybe the point is that could have just been filled with like, just do less stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's had a lot of stuff, and it's hard to keep up with it all. So even though being a fan, I've not seen Secret Invasion yet or Echo, for instance.
I don't think you need to.
No, well, exactly, yeah. So then you have the problem of then when the movie comes out that is reliant on some of that info.
Yeah.
In that first kind of the first 3 phases or whatever it was, it's like we'd all done our homework.
Yes.
And now it's going to be harder to get, and like I'm excited for Doomsday as well, but obviously that's only going to work if we kind of like. If Doctor Doom is kind of like in the picture enough, presumably in Fantastic Four, where, again, like we knew Thanos was coming because we would see he's in the end credits for whatever 5, 6 movies.
Yeah, those stones popped up quite a lot.
Yeah, those stones were, so we had that sense of like the bigger thing was coming, whereas this is going to be, it's like, I don't know, if I have a concern, it's trying to go from like almost like 0 to 60. Too fast without putting the
but
we've had some good times, so I'm sure we'll have more.
We've had some good times. Lovely way of putting it. Would you watch another 4 movie, like a 4-4?
Yeah, totally. Because I mean, we've had two great. I mean, well, the first one is for me, I don't know, 7 or 8 out of 10. That was early days in the MCU. It was kind of cool getting Kenneth Branagh in to do it almost like Shakespearean kind of feel. There's some good world building. Like I do like the first one. Second one, obviously not so good. Third one, amazing. Fourth, not so good. So if it continues that trajectory, the next one will also
this would be
amazing.
4-5, wouldn't it? I forgot about 4th movie then for a minute.
Yeah, so there could be the fifth one should be great, right?
That's a lot.
By that man,
should be good. Fingers crossed. Sam, which is your worst sequel ever?
Okay, my worst sequel is Disenchanted.
This is a random one.
I've never seen this before. I watched it for this episode.
Okay, I'm so sorry.
It's not good.
No, I mean, okay, like part of the reason I guess in a way it's sort of tied into most disappointing, but for whatever reason, I really do genuinely love the first one.
It's great, isn't it? Enchanted is great. It's surprising how good that is.
And great, great cast, great kind of like I think what's good about it is it's like it's both a satire, poking fun at sort of Disney history and the trope, and also embracing it. So it's kind of in that it sort of walks that line really well. And it's funny and it's moving and it's kind of hopeful and it's silly. And, so that was like, 2007. So at that time, me and my wife were starting to talk about getting married. And with, obviously thinking ahead to maybe one day we'll have kids. And then you see it and you're like, oh man, I wonder if I'll have a kid that's as cool as Morgan, and she's doing her judo lessons or whatever. And, and just like, I don't know. I just think it's just great. Like Patrick Dempsey is kind of this. He's got this kind of the way he communicates the pathos of the film, and really we're all him. We're all cynical and jaded in the real world, and Amy Adams comes through from Andalusia and has none of those hang-ups. And yeah, it just I don't know, but it kind of seems stupid, but it just works really well because it's played so well. So I was kind of, when they said that, I think the sequel was talked about for a long time, and then and then it ended up being, 15 years later, almost
2022, I think.
It was,
2022. So so a long break. So then you're thinking, the reason it's probably been a break is like they've definitely got something great that they want to tell, and it's just a lot. It just seems like a lot of missed opportunities, like. Just been sort of watching it again just to kind of check, and it's still I can't remember any of the songs, having just watched it like a couple of hours ago. But I can, some of the first movie. Don't worry, I'm not going to do it, but I could go straight into a lot of them.
It's just really forgettable, isn't it? This I only watched it a couple of days ago, and I can't remember anything that happens in it other than I found Patrick Dempsey's character really annoying. And he isn't in the first one.
He's really likable first time around, and like he's not in the second one as much. And even though they're meant to be they're together now, like he's just kind of going off to work at the beginning, and there's just a lot of weird choices where, and it seems to miss like the point of the first one is the fish out of water story. Obviously, it's seeing Amy Adams as a princess in New York, finding it all weird, and that's the humor of it. And but also the way that kind of elevates or takes the cynicism away from Patrick Dempsey's character. And then in but Disenchanted, there's none of that because they do the spell, and because Giselle is wishing for a more magical life or everything to kind of be better, where they've moved house and they're kind of struggling. But the problem is that what it does is everyone instantly becomes like they're from fairy tale land or whatever. So there's none of the tension of like them finding it weird. So like Patrick Dempsey goes off to fight a dragon just because he now feels like that's what he should be doing, as opposed to still being like someone, like if someone just told him to come and fight a dragon, like it was a normal thing to do, then he'd be freaking out about it. But instead he's like, right, I'm going to do this. But and the only time I laugh is like James Marsden. He's still really good.
But he should be in this more.
He should be in it more. And they literally leave him in the cartoon realm. The only time they go to the cartoon version, the Andalasia, he's like left there to protect it. It's like, no, come up the well. You're the best bit.
Yeah.
So anyway, like I don't really like talking about movies I don't like, because obviously many people worked on it and did their goddamn best.
Yeah.
But I think, it just from, I guess, the script as the starting point, and then the songs don't really have the same impact, because there's just not as much going on where there's as much of a story to tell about what the characters are going through. And but yeah, then I went back to, I was just like thinking, but it's the terrible thing about a bad sequel is that it can make you think that the original that you loved was not good. So I did go back and just sort of was going through, and I just watched the last 10 minutes of the original, and yeah, it's still really good.
It's still really good.
Still really good.
Still really good.
That's fine. It's unharmed. Pretend the sequel didn't exist, and everyone's doing their best. Amy Adams, she's still, there's the thing where she's kind of becoming evil because of the spell, but she only at the very end gets to kind of go full evil. It would have been really fun to have her being more evil sooner, because she'd have maybe.
Yeah, I quite like sweet Amy Adams, Giselle, and I would like to skip her nice for more of the film, to be honest, and let the craziness work around her again. I think that's worked well. Also, but the animation, I didn't feel like the animation was as good as the first film from 2007. That also seemed a little rushed as well. And you think when you have that amount of time, it should be better.
Yeah, they could have been in a frame like a day for years and get it together. Yeah, because there's the opening of the original is there's an amazing animated sequence, like full on, won't quite say classic Disney, but it's really well done. And then this one starts with literally some chipmunk characters reading or telling the story, but totally static. They've not even done any kind of parallax scrolling around this book illustration.
Yeah.
And it just it's and then they only later on in the movie do they get back into that world.
Do you think that's because, and they did that on purpose, because the early Disney sequels like Hunchback of Notre Dame 2 and Pocahontas 2 and Bambi 2 and Jungle Book 2 are all so bad that they're like, we'll settle into this?
What, you thought they made it bad on purpose?
Hey, I'm giving it a chance, Rich.
Yeah, just we're keeping up tradition sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's like all Disney sequels are bad.
They are, though, aren't they?
A lot of straight to video. Yeah. Did it even get a theatrical release, or did it go straight to Disney Plus?
It went straight to Disney Plus. Enchanted.
Yeah, but that wasn't
Disenchanted. I mean, that's a brilliant name, though, isn't it?
Well, it is, and if it had been good, but the problem is, it just it invites the criticism of how it makes you feel, as opposed to it's going to be fun because the characters kind of go a bit evil.
Yeah.
Surely more enchantment, or
Yeah, it's just quite boring, isn't it? I think that's the main thing. And it shouldn't be.
I don't know why I suggested it, but it's just that level of it's the fall between.
And I think that's a great reason. I think actually the worst sequels are ones where the first is so high and there is such a fall. I think I think you're right that Enchanted is a really great film, and then this one is so bad that it seems even worse.
Yeah,
because it's such a missed opportunity. They had all the ingredients there. They've got the actors. They probably had a massive budget. They had the time. Didn't do it. Yeah, they had the time.
Yeah,
and it just doesn't come together.
I suppose it was also, like I was saying, because I'd seen the original back at the time when before we'd had kids, and then we had. So by the time this was around, my daughter would have been 6 or 7. So I was partly thinking, the sequel's coming out soon. This is gonna be great. Well, we can. They'd seen Enchanted and really liked it, but I was kind of excited to see that for the first time with them, and it's like, oh, you ruined it.
Yeah. Did you have to watch it beforehand to see if it was scary? Is it one of those sequels?
No, because actually my son used to be the dragon at the end of the first one. It just freaked him out, but he was probably 4 or 5. But no, by this point he's a hardened 10-year-old by then. And my daughter's like, she's not scared of anything. So,
okay, good.
But traditionally, my son has been the one like pulling his hood down in movies. My daughter's like, "What are you doing?"
With my son, he's never scared of the things I think he's going to be scared of. And then we watch something, and I think, "Oh, this is going to be fine," and it like completely freaks him out. Like it just always catches me.
Is it puppets? Because puppets are scary.
No, it's not puppets, Dave. But like Jurassic Park, like he watched Jurassic Park when he was like 4, and he didn't care. He thought it was amazing, and he was all for more lawyers to be eaten. Like he was not fazed at all. But then there's been other things where I think it's going to be fine, and then he kind of gets really freaked out about it. So
yeah. Well, that's partly why I haven't actually shown them Superman 3 yet, because the freaky computer lady.
True.
Have you watched? Made them. It's probably not the right word. Let them watch lots of Disney films. Is that a safe space to go to when they were young?
Yeah. I mean, the first film both of them ever saw was My Neighbor Totoro.
Oh wow!
Nice.
Which was like a way to kind of get them started. So. I mean, that there's lots of amazing things about being a parent, but definitely one of the real highlights is being able to, go sort of think about what movie is going to be right for them at different ages, and often getting it wrong and like forgetting that, oh God, there's that bit. Shit, I need to skip. Best skip this bit.
Yeah.
Or and whatever. So I've got the control. It's like, the Goonies is awesome, but I'm just gonna just leave this bit.
Yeah.
And
Is there a film that you've literally like watched them watch and then they've turned out hated it and it's broken your heart a little bit, Sam?
No, because I don't know. I just
you're a better guy than me.
I love movies and everything, but I've tried not to be too. It's not like right. The homework this week is we're gonna watch. the Richard Donner cut of Superman 2. But they start to ask more questions about movies, and but I will be like, oh, by the way, the person doing that voice is the person you've seen in. So I do a bit of annoying commentary.
Yeah.
But I want them to have that. I think they'll get more out of cinema and movies if they can have a little IMDb in their own heads of how things are all connected. And they do. They'll happily watch the kind of little making of things. So, on Disney Plus and stuff, there's the little.
Yes.
To be honest, this is just for them to
make them geeks.
It's bedtime, and really, they just don't want to go to bed yet. Oh. So my wife's like, "You should be taking them up," and I'm like, "Yeah, but we could just watch this 2-minute, how they made Star-Lord's mask or whatever it is."
Yeah.
So they see little bits of that.
Soon they'll be asking for director's commentary, and you'll be like, "My work is done."
I'm just setting up the way, and we'll just see where it goes.
Yeah. Okay, that's sweet.
Vitamin Water was born in New York because New Yorkers wanted more. Like more flavor to go with all the flavor. A refreshing drink after climbing 6 flights of stairs to a walk-up apartment, or standing in the subway station in 100-degree heat. Focus when I have an 8-hour shift. And Triple X after I was out all night at a club. Call Triple X. Drink Vitamin Water. It's from New York.
It's almost Mother's Day, and you can now get anything you need delivered with Uber Eats. Well, almost anything. So no, you can't order a relaxing shower, but some beautiful flowers, you bet we deliver those. A bird bath? No. A bath bomb? Absolutely. It's no to a chocolate lab, but yes to some chocolate truffles. So whether it's a last-minute gift for Mother's Day, fresh groceries, or food from your favorite restaurants, get it delivered today with Uber Eats. Order now. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
Hey, it's Bill Simmons from the Bill Simmons Podcast. The NBA playoffs are here, and Michelob Ultra is getting you closer to the game than ever with courtside seats and more. Enter now at MichelobUltra.com/courtside. Michelob Ultra Superior Access Courtside 2024 to 2025 sweepstakes. No purchase necessary. Open to U.S. residents 21 or older. Ends on July 1st, 2025. Multiple entry periods. Visit MichelobUltra.com/superior access/courtside for free entry deadlines and official rules. Message and data rates may apply. Void where prohibited.
I've got another little question for you, which is what sequel seemed like a bad idea, but you ended up liking?
Yeah, I was thinking about this, and I know you've talked about it quite a bit already, but it's Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah.
That's
the right answer.
Yeah, it's correct. I was, I really liked Top Gun back in the day, but I just didn't see how
the past tense is not a good thing for Top Gun.
I just didn't see how it could, what would you do with it? Like, how would it work? And they totally smashed it. It's brilliant.
Yeah, don't put Tom Cruise in a corner.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. And the soundtrack, like the stuff that Hans Zimmer's doing, like right from the get go, obviously reusing some of the original score, but just kind of expanding it out, and then it's really great. I mean, obviously it's totally ridiculous, like that you'd have like someone in their mid-60s being this amazing fighter pilot still. But it's Tom Cruise, so you just kind of go there.
Yeah, it's Tom Cruise. And you have to sit there going, he's the same age as my dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That is true. Were you a big fan of Top Gun when you were younger? Did that have any impact of you in your teenage years?
So I didn't see it first time at the cinema, but what happened was I was like, must have been 12 or 13 when it was shown on TV for the first time. And I just remember like everyone went absolutely mad for it. So we were all trying to, the next week at school, everyone was not at school, but like if we had a school trip, everyone would be like in a white t-shirt with the sleeves rolled up. And, we're all and like, trying to get a leather jacket and everything. And obviously looking like totally lame doing so. But we kind of, and then, the soundtrack was massive and like Take My Breath Away or whatever. But all the songs going back up the charts and the Righteous Brothers and everything and sitting on the dock of the bay and everything. So, yeah, so it was a massive phenomenon, but like the classic UK thing, like 5 years late.
Yeah.
That was when it was on TV.
Yeah.
It must have been 1990. So, and maybe that wasn't the first time, but we were just the right age anyway. And, just
were you all playing volleyball outside?
Absolutely. Mate. Yeah. In the freezing cold, yeah.
Yeah. So when they announced the sequel, were you like, fuck off at that point?
It just seemed like, well, it's been too long. Like, how, was it going to be sort of set in the past? What are they going to do?
Yeah.
But, then sat down and obviously it was delayed. And that didn't help in the sense that you're thinking, oh, well, I wasn't that bothered anyway. And then finally went to see it and it played for a long time and this was coming out of COVID and everything. And it's just sort of a magical movie experience. Yeah. Exactly everything you want out of the movies. Yeah. It's kind of, it's the action's really great. It's, it does all the things that the original did well, does pretty much all of them better.
Are you one of those people that thinks the second is better than the first?
Yeah, I mean, I am, but obviously,
that's a shame.
But it builds on like the, like having Goose's son and all that stuff. Like it's obvious what it's doing. It's got the emotional strings to pull out in front of you. That the harp is there, kind of thing in front of you. You know what's happening to you.
Yeah.
It lifts like Star Wars as the kind of the mission.
Yeah, it does.
Totally. But it just works really well.
It's one I went into similarly, and I was really cynical about it and really worried about it, and I went into it going, I don't think I'm going to enjoy it, and I don't think it's going to be good. And then about 4 minutes into it, I was like, this might be the best movie I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I think it's the best sequel we've watched, reviewed while we're doing this podcast. Like we're coming out to 4 years soon, and I don't think I've watched a better sequel in the last 4 years.
I don't know. Bridget Jones 4 was pretty good.
Hey, don't you knock it.
Yeah, no, I've heard that's pretty good. I'm not got around to that yet. So
it is good. You seem like quite a positive guy, Sam. So how, walking into that first screening of Top Gun Maverick, were you like, yeah, no, okay? Or were you warning people around you?
I think by then...
Like having a little joke on its expense before you saw it kind of thing.
I feel like by the time it was actually finally happening and finally coming out, the word had got around that actually this is good, people.
Yeah.
Like, the cynicism was really like in the when it was getting pushed back and through COVID mostly, but then you're thinking, oh, what, how can it, why are we having to wait so long for this? Why not just put it onto streaming? Right. Like a lot of films were coming out then.
Yeah.
Like all the timelines are hazy, but like Black Widow and stuff, not or getting a home release and theatrical release at the same time and all of that stuff.
Wonder Woman 2.
Actually, as a when the kids were younger, that was actually kind of great. That was the only good thing about all that time. Was getting to see movies soon without having to go out to see them, because it's not always easy to get time to do that. But yeah, no, I was by the time it was, I knew I was expecting. I was then hopeful because I'd heard good things, and I was not in any way disappointed. In fact, it was even better than I sort of thought it was possibly could have been.
Yeah, Top Gun in my family is a big thing for some reason. So I went and saw it with my mum and dad. And at the end, me and my dad cried together because we were so happy it wasn't rubbish. It was and then we got really, really drunk because we were so happy with it. It was great. It was a great day. And I love Top Gun, and I think it's great. Would you watch a Top Gun 3 now, or would that be mad?
Yeah, well, it's always the thing, isn't it? That I think it's going to happen anyway, isn't it? Whether it's, I mean, I just think you can't write Tom Cruise off. So he gives it maximum effort, and he's always pushing. So it's possible, I guess, to do a really good third one.
Would you watch a Top Gun without a Tom Cruise character, Maverick, in it? If they Top Gun Rooster or whatever, Hangman.
Well, the second one, it does. There's a good cast of characters that I would be up for seeing again, and in more, in even bigger roles. But yeah, I think at some point these little sort of legacy sequels need to let go. Like Frozen Empire, Ghostbusters. I sort of enjoyed that bits of it, but the frustration came from Afterlife was a kind of literally about letting the original cast go. And then Frozen Empire says, actually, they're still here.
Yeah.
And gives them quite a bit to do. And it's I really like the kids.
Yeah. It should have been the movie about the kids.
Give them their time, man.
Yeah, it should have been. They definitely didn't need to bring Dan Aykroyd back quite as much as they did in that movie.
And Bill Murray. Aykroyd was fine. Murray was bad in that film. And obviously the ghost, they didn't go and hunt any ghosts. The ghosts pretty much came to them at the end as well.
Nothing was frozen. It was really rubbish.
Barely frozen at all. Sam, what is your dream sequel?
Okay, my dream sequel is Crying Freeman 2.
Okay. This is the mad one, I would say, of your picks.
Okay. Disenchanted was quite mad, but...
No.
Well, I don't know. I guess it's probably an age thing, but so the context would just be that for the original would be, well, the sequel doesn't exist, but...
Yeah, let's talk about the original first, and then we'll delve into your sequel.
I was doing karate. I was doing karate at the time, through my late teens, and then going to university. At university, joined the karate club and ended up becoming the captain of it. And there was this great kind of group of karate enthusiasts, martial arts fans, who then were also kind of discovering action cinema. And Crying Freeman is just a great kind of example of the genre, where it's kind of got this. It's looking at it again now, it's almost like a proto John Wick, I think. And I think it would lend itself really well to having become a franchise.
Okay.
Because it's based on a comic book or
based on a comic book, which I must admit I've never manga. I've never actually read.
Yeah. It's very 90s. It was when I watched it, I was like, "Oh, it's very nice." It's quite possibly the worst sex scene I think I've ever seen.
I've got a question. Are you talking about the first sex scene?
The first one, yeah.
Not the cupboard
The
sex
cupboard
scene?
one's weird, don't get me wrong, but the first one just looks like it's really uncomfortable for everybody.
Yes, it's odd.
I have many questions, and the main one is I don't think I understood what was going on for the whole of that film. I got that he cried every time for his victims, and he was protecting the girl that he didn't kill.
Yeah.
And then after that, I have no idea what was going on. So, can you remember?
Well, it's basically he's the Freeman, which is the chief assassin in the Sons of the Dragons, which is a secret Chinese group of underworld figures.
But he's Japanese, right?
Well, no, he is. It's meant to be the Freeman can change his appearance so he can appear to be different. I mean,
there's a bit I got very confused. I thought it wasn't him, but it turned out to be him at the end.
Right.
So that explains that. Thank you.
Going back to it, I was initially freaked out thinking, "Oh, is this the movie I remember?" Because I hardly ever watched like DVDs, and I had to get this on DVD. And then it had the TV was doing the stupid like adding the frames, so it was doing the soap opera thing.
Yeah.
I was thinking, oh man, this seems like even lower budget than I remember. Anyway, I turned that off, and it was like, okay, here's a movie, but it was 4:3, so that was also making it feel less cinematic than I remembered in my head.
Yeah.
I think there is also a Blu-ray, but that literally wasn't going to arrive in time, and I think maybe that must be widescreen. Anyway, so yeah, Mark Dacascos is really cool, I think, and he's a great sort of physical performer, and he was just like pretty badass, and obviously it's just there's a lot of slow motion, and I guess when I was like 18, 19, this just seemed like the coolest thing because this was before there was John Wick or
So what year prior to your Howard? So it came out in 95, if that's right. So did you see it at that point when it was released in cinema?
Not a cinema, but we had it on video, and we would be in our like university dorm room with like a little tiny TV.
Yes.
And kind of take turns in each other's rooms watching movies, and we would just watch it over and over.
I remember those days.
Yeah.
And yeah. So sort of fond memories of it. So it's partly nostalgia, obviously, but watching it again, I thought, it holds up pretty well. There's some you got the Yakuza factions, and then it's kind of the war between the different gangs, and there's enough kind of cool fight scenes and action scenes that kind of tie it together.
Yeah.
But like all of that stuff, like really you're only in it for that. Yeah, I mean it tries to be a little bit sexy, and like it doesn't necessarily succide.
No, it doesn't.
No.
So you weren't there for the love story then? Just for the action.
No. Just Mark Dacascos doing like somersaults through as people are like just two guys either side like swinging swords, and then there's this cool signature move. Which he also does in, I mean, that's his kind of move, but he does that in like Only the Strong, which is like the capoeira movie he did before this, and which kind of like got him, onto the scene. And I think it's a shame. Like, it was really cool to see him in John Wick 3.
Yeah.
Arabellum.
That's where I know him from personally.
And I guess that's where I just was thinking, oh man, yeah, like Crying Freeman could have gone, because even at the end they talk about, so he defeats everyone. He comes to his like. He's also like a potter, making these beautiful sculptures and stuff, and they come to their hideout.
I thought that was just a weird cover to get his guns in to start with, and it turned out he actually was a potter.
He actually was that. Yeah, it was sort of like he was a potter who then got kidnapped and then brainwashed to become a killer. And it turns out he was really good at it, and that was like his, as well as pottery, that was his like. They found the thing he was best at, and so that's what he kind of had to be. He was destined to be the killer for the Sons of the Dragon, the Freeman, even though he cries when he kills people. So you'd think that would maybe be he's not got the right
mentally not quite there, but
I just remember it as being but watching it now it's funny because there's so much slow motion in it, and it kind of reminded me of in Dark Place. Garth Marenghi's Dark Place, where they joke about, often the episodes are running short, so we would always use anything that wasn't dialogue was considered for slow motion. Kind of reminded me of that.
In your version that you've got on DVD, is the policeman dubbed?
No.
Oh.
I don't believe so.
We've watched a version.
We found the version on YouTube. Like the full movie
the policeman,
is on there.
the policeman who's a famous actor, right? He's the bad guy in Bad Boys 1. Lots of things. They've dubbed him with Ron Perlman.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
They overdub his voice with Ron Perlman for some reason.
That's so weird. Why?
And once you cannot get away from it. You're like,
yeah,
he's a very French man.
Yeah, but you can still that's weird. You can still understand his English, though. He's not like speaking.
No,
French.
yeah, and he's quite a good bad guy as well in other films and stuff.
Yeah.
So
he's pretty good in it. So that I love Ron Perlman, but that seems weird.
Yeah, it was weird.
To seek that out now. Yeah, I don't know. Like, they talk about at the end. Like, so you've got the.
Oh yes, let's do the sequel. Let's go into it.
So the sequel, yeah. So they talk. So the thing that doesn't have. So the Yakuza come at the end of the first movie.
Yeah.
But he's also like betrayed the Sons of Dragons because he's fallen in love with is she called Emu?
I think she's called Emu. I think she is.
Emu, I think, yeah.
That's what it's in IMDb. EMU O'Hara.
Yeah. So they fall in love. So then he's basically the instruction was for like his mentor was meant to kill him after he's taken out the Yakuza leader, and then he dies. But then what? So the obvious thing is the Sons of the Dragon should then be coming to kill the Freeman because he's broken their code, right? By falling in love with a witness to a crime, because that's how they meet at the very beginning. So yeah, it totally sets up the sequel where you'd have, just like John Wick, where you'd have all the different like layers of the underworld trying to get this guy. And then, the obvious thing would be that they would, Emu would die in the sequel.
The women always die. Yeah.
And that would set off a chain of events.
When's the dream time for that sequel to be released for you? Like university, Sam, or, mid-20s, or will it work now?
I guess, it's not like it was such a massive hit like Top Gun where you could do it now. But, it's probably a very small audience. But, I would love to think that you could make it work now where, maybe, they've had children and whatever, something kicks off that sort of starts a chain of events where, maybe his daughter is going to become the Freeman or the Free Woman.
Oh, yeah.
And, there's something like that. And maybe they finally manage to kill him and then, that would set off a vengeance spree for her. So there's different ways you could do it. Yeah, it would have been amazing to see it in 97 or 99 kind of thing. But I think almost like post John Wick, you could pick it up and, start anew. But obviously this is just me dreaming. No. That's the point of a dream sequel.
That's what we do here. Yeah, because Mark Dacascos, whatever his name is, and Emu, they got married after this film. And they're still married to this day, I believe.
Are they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 2 for 1 there.
Yeah.
We can get them in. I think he, like you said, he's quite a famous cult actor.
Yeah.
John Wick 3 helped. I think they'll be able to get a better budget because I was reading earlier they were meant to have a $15 million budget, and then at the last minute it got slashed to 9.
Right.
So they could probably...
Hence the slow motion.
Hence the slow motion and a bit of dubbing and some other editing stuff. I think we can make a good $20 million movie here to make some good money.
Yeah, totally.
I think it could work. There's definitely story to go after this film. Even I knew when I ended up watching it, when they left and like, leave us alone, we just want to live alone. I was like,
that's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen. These people are going to hunt you down at some point.
Yeah, if they can get a 20 million budget together.
But they didn't, sadly. So, Rich, did you enjoy it? Because I'm guessing it's the first time you watched it as well.
I enjoyed parts of it. There were parts of it I didn't enjoy quite so much. I did enjoy the action stuff, and I did, a bit like you, Dave, I did think, because we watched a dodgy copy on YouTube, I did think, are there bits missing? Because it doesn't
there was definitely
quite
subtitles
fit
missing,
together.
I'll tell you that.
There were subtitles missing, yeah, that was confusing.
Yeah.
I think we could have watched a better version.
It's weird. Yeah, because it's not on streaming anywhere.
It's not easy to find.
I'll end up getting a DVD, and
I think
I feel like it. Maybe I don't know. Maybe at some point it will get a 4K remaster re-release, which would be cool. I'd love to see.
I don't know the rights. I do have a memory of when I was young, my brother having like a poster on his wall, because when you used to go to the cinema and you used to get like these magazines, they had all the posters in them, and we used to cut them up and just stick whatever posters on the wall. I remember having a Crying Freeman poster on his wall. Actually, it might be an our wall because we shared a bedroom for a while. But never seen it. I did enjoy parts.
Yeah,
like I said, the action's great. He's great. He's a very good-looking man. And the tattoos was cool. When the witch woman thing came in and the explanation of what was going on a bit more, that kind of freaked me out a little bit. But and I really liked the end battle is the highlight, I think.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm not quite sure why the police were doing there. Can you fill me in with that? I'm sorry to annoy you about the questions of it.
No. Why were the police there? Because basically the French guy who was done by Ron Perlman in your version, he's in cahoots with the Yakuza, really.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So for reasons I can't remember exactly. But yeah, so he's really on the accuser side.
Yeah, he's corrupt.
Whilst also trying to basically, bring out this assassin, this Freeman, and figure out what's going on. So he's trying to solve the crime whilst also protecting the Yakuza.
Yeah. I was just reading this bit on IMDb trivia. So that guy's name that I can't pronounce, Takeki Kairos, the French guy, voice has been dubbed by Ron Perlman, probably likely because he was not supposed to play a French detective, so his accent would have to be too heavy. So maybe even on your version it is dubbed.
No. I mean,
he's going to watch it again.
It's definitely not Ron Perlman. Maybe. Oh God, this is like. I feel like I would have noticed Ron Perlman's voice, but maybe I just know this film so well, and I never knew that at the time. That maybe
it is. Once you hear it, you can't get out your head.
You can't stop. It feels like Hellboy's talking to you for most of this film. But. Yeah, is there any other of these martial art films you enjoyed? Because we recently had to watch The Best of the Best 2 from Mark Simmons, the comedian.
Yeah, no, I did. I was listening to that episode and I was thinking, actually, that was one I missed, and I need to go back to that series. So because that was the kind of thing. So I went very heavily into the Van Damme films. And
the Kickboxers and the Bloodsports.
And Time Cop Man, another film that could have had a sequel.
Well, it did have a sequel.
Oh, did it? Was Van Damme in it?
No, it had Jason Scott Lee in it, I think. It was
I mean, and I liked him in Dragon, the Bruce Lee story. Even
it was like Operation Berlin or something.
Okay.
It's not good.
Right, yeah. I mean, unless you've got to have Van Damme doing the splits in some weird situation that... so... And then Jackie Chan and all that stuff. So I was like discovering all that. And just kind of like... And once you're in that genre, you're in it for... the invention of the action scenes, and if you're lucky there might be some decent drama or other stuff around it, but you're not expecting any necessarily. So almost like anything that tries to have some, like Crying Freeman, in a way, it felt like a sort of obviously it's a B movie, but it had this kind of elevated sense, like it's trying to do more, it's trying to be a bit art house and a bit kind of there's some interesting choices of shot and stuff where, like a curtain blowing or, which I guess I was impressed by enough when I was like 17, 18.
I know this is what's so good about cinema is like, everyone has their favourite and best films. Are these kind of your films to watch when the kids have gone to bed and you've got a bit of free time and stuff? Yeah. Straight to a bad action movie, definitely. Yeah.
That bad action movie with some great bits.
Are you a fan of the John Wicks?
Yeah, no, very much so. I think I would love them more if they had more martial arts. So martial arts has always been the thing I've been interested in, and obviously there's a lot of gunplay, and it's done brilliantly. By the time you get to the fourth one, it's a bit like, why aren't the police coming? Like the fight at the Arc de Triomphe is amazing, but like surely within like 30 seconds, the gendarmes are there, getting involved. So it always just feels like they're sort of they're in this, this kind of like comic book. There's no consequences for anyone else outside of this weird kind of world of
I suppose that's where Crying Freeman could, like you were saying earlier, could go as well. This whole world building.
Exactly.
It could link into John Wick.
Yeah, you could tie it in.
Because they're about to do a spin-off movie. It might be more martial arts interest to you.
Yeah.
Donnie Yen's about to do a spin-off movie of his Kane character.
Yeah, I mean, that is super exciting to me. So, yeah, again, like Mark Dacascos, Donnie Yen is one of the, especially Donnie Yen. I mean, I wish, like, Mark had a bet, kind of like been in more things.
Yeah.
Post Crying Freeman, because he would have been great in stuff. But, Donnie Yen, seeing him first in, like, Iron Monkey, and then... Well, lots of great stuff, but he's a proper. I mean, the Ip Man films might more recently, but I guess they're still probably 10 years old now. But he's always great to watch, and Kane was a super cool character in Wick 4. So yeah, man, bring it on.
Those were Sam Gilbey's Unequal Sequels. I mean, we say this all the time, but there are some interesting choices in there, and some movies I've been wanting to talk about or a movie at least, I've been wanting to talk about for a while.
Yes.
Superman 2.
Superman 2, but not any old Superman 2.
No, the Richard Donner cut.
He got very specific for that one.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sam, for picking Superman 2, the Richard Donner cut. I had never seen it. You didn't watch it. You watched the original again, didn't you?
I watched the original. I'm pretty sure I have seen the Richard Donner cut, though.
Yes.
Because the things he was talking about, I was like, oh, I do remember these bits.
Those bits are in there. And it does work as a film, I think. See, I can't remember what's what now. And what's, because I watched Superman 2 so long ago that I can't tell you what's the original, what's in the Donner's cut. So, but what I watched was great. I think the Donner's cut's got more Marlon Brando back in there, right? Because they got rid.
Yeah, I think so.
They got rid of him for the other cut because they didn't want to pay him to do it, even though he filmed everything. So
wild.
Anyway, it's a great. If anyone's bored, go read about what happened for Superman 2 and what happened there. It's a great read. His worst pick was a surprise to me. I mean, it is not great. Disenchanted.
It is crap.
Yeah, it is crap, especially when you put it against Enchanted.
I quite enjoyed Enchanted. Yeah,
great.
It's a fun film, and then Disenchanted is really boring.
It's really dull. With the best characters from the first film doing nothing in the second film. Also, a sequel that should have probably happened reasonably quickly after the first film.
Yeah.
And with a great name. I love the name Disenchanted. Very clever. Nothing wrong with
absolutely. No.
But one of those, the sequel wasn't worth the wait.
I think they did a U and they came up with the name before they had the movie. You know how you're really good at the names?
Yes.
So you come up with the names with things and then we kind of backfill.
Yes.
So I don't know if anyone knows this, but Dave came up for the name of this podcast before we had any clue what we're going to do on this podcast.
I'm a names guy.
Unequal Sequel. That will be good. Yeah.
I came up with a good one for a new Doctor Who podcast the other day, but I won't ruin that. I won't say that. But and Disenchanted wasn't worth the wait, and it is pretty crap, sadly. And it went straight to Disney Plus at the end of the pandemic era of movies, wasn't it?
Got a bit lost, which is deservedly so, to be honest.
Yeah, just go and watch the first one again. But then his dream sequel picked us back up.
Yeah.
In a way.
Crying Freeman. Not the best film I've ever seen for dream sequel, not going to lie.
There's a running theme this year of we getting people on the podcast who like martial arts films. Like Mark Simmons came on and talked about a lot of martial arts films. Yes. And it seems Sam also likes martial arts films. And he picked one called Crying Freeman from 1995. I'm not sure if anyone's heard it. And we told Sam about the Ron Perlman dubbing the main police character. Yes. And he didn't know anything about it. He has recently got in contact with me again. And it is Ron Perlman. He can't believe it. He doesn't know how he didn't notice. And then I was like, well, I'm sorry if I've ruined this film now, because it's one of the reasons it's weird to me.
It is really weird.
We also, I think me and you watched a version with barely any subtitles.
Yes, yeah, there weren't any subtitles in the version we watched, which made it even more confusing.
Yep.
It also has one of the worst sex scenes in it I think I've ever seen.
You see, I think the second sex scene's worse than the first sex scene.
I think the first one, at least the second one's interesting. Like they do some weird shit in a cupboard. But the first one, it's just like, it's like something from Garth Marenghi's Dark Place.
It is, very much, yes. Yeah, it feels like a film with its time. And reading about it before we watched it, and we just spoke about it with Sam, that it had its budget slashed by about 7 million or something.
That's quite a big chunk.
You can kind of feel it while you're watching the movie. I think there's grand ideas there.
And I think it's quite, it does have interesting ideas. I think there are some interesting ideas there. And
the martial arts is pretty cool, some of it.
Yeah, it just never quite pays off, does it?
No.
It doesn't really quite work.
But dream sequel would have worked.
Dream sequel, yeah.
Would have worked. So, 3 interesting choices again. Thank you very much, Sam, for coming on the podcast. We loved your picks. Also, guys, if you haven't checked out Sam Gilbey's work, go check out Sam Gilbey's work.
I'm about to spend most of my salary this month on prints from his shop.
Yeah.
So go to samgilbeyillustrates.bigcartel.com. It sounds dodgy, but
that's
not.
Where he's storing. If you type his name into Google, you'll come up to his portfolio website, and it's all in there.
Just go to samgilbeyillustrates.com and you'll find his stuff on there. And It's so good, man. It's so good. Like we've had lots of illustrators and
brilliant illustrators.
We've had a few brilliant illustrators and stuff on here, and he is up there with those guys. You know, we've had Doley on, and we've had Matt Ferguson on. Both of them incredible, and Sam is definitely up there.
Oh yeah.
Some of his posters, I need his Rogue One poster. I need it. It's so good.
I like his Jaws print. I think the Jaws print's going to come on the wall.
The Jaws print is
I might just get a load of Jaws prints because I've already got a couple already. So
there's also, have you seen his one that's called Chores? And
yes.
It's like an iron and lots of washing and stuff in the background.
It looks great.
It's very good. That's very clever.
Maybe I could sneak that into the kitchen.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Because it's a movie print, but it's not.
Isn't it great? We've had those three brilliant illustrators, artists on, and they're all so different to each other.
Yeah, they are.
Like the work they do as well. Anyway.
Yeah, and he's got like enamel badges and key rings and all sorts of stuff on there too. So make sure you check that out. It's a really good shot. Go and buy his stuff.
I saw the weekend he was doing something with aliens and Ripley for his heroes and villains piece. Looks great. Anyway, thanks very much for coming on, Sam. We really appreciate time. You were brilliant. You can go check out our extra bit of chats with Sam, the sequel sessions on AnotherSlice/.com. That's completely wrong.
Dude! Leave that for me.
Yeah, you do it. I tried.
What Dave's trying to say is if you really like Sam and you want to hear the extra bits where we talk about his work and how to be an illustrator and that kind of thing, get yourself over onto anotherslice.com/unequal sequel.
That's it.
That's the place to go.
Yeah.
And whilst you're there, pay your $2.99 a month. Oh, before you do that, actually, if you want to hear what a sequel session sounds like, before you even pay your $2.99 a month, you can listen to one we've got on there for free. So our one that we've got with Stuart Laws, the comedian, we've put that up there for free because it's such a good one. We thought we want everyone to hear it. So you can go over to anotherslice.com/unequal sequel, listen to that one for free. If you really like it, you can then pay your $2.99 to sign up for the month, and we'll give you 3 extra podcasts every single, more than 3 a month at the moment.
Yeah.
So you get a sequel session for every episode we do with a guest, which is all about us talking about things, sometimes movie related, sometimes sort of more related to what they do. Then you'll also get Disenfranchised, where you talk about movies that should have had a franchise but didn't. And you'll get Box Set Mentality, where we watch a whole box set and talk about it. And people seem to really love those extra ones.
Mm.
I think maybe, keeping them behind a paywall, we're doing a disservice there. But hey, that's the way it is. Sign up. It's only $2.99 a month. It's a ruddy bargain. Join us on social medias. Tell us what you thought of Sam's choices. We are on all the social medias apart from The Bad Place. You know where The Bad Place is. Don't go to The Bad Place. Just type in Unequal Sequel and you'll find us. Or you can send us an email, unequalsequel@hotmail.com. We have been getting loads of messages and emails recently. It's amazing. We really love it. So please do send us more. Also, we've been getting some really nice reviews come through as well. So please carry that on. Get to your pod player of choice and give us a 5-star review. We just really love it. It helps other people find the podcast, and it also helps us achieve our goal of becoming certified Rotten Tomatoes critics. So please do that. We'd love that because we think it would be funny to screw with the algorithm. Because fun times.
It would be fun. Yes,
yeah.
I think so.
Yeah,
be something to put on CV at least.
Yeah, why not? Yeah. Certified Rotten Tomatoes critic.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone for getting in contact and sending in all your funny stuff and questions and stuff like that. We love trying to answer those the best we can, so we appreciate it. Some of them are deeper than others, but we always have a go at crack at them, so which is half the fun, we've been told. So that's good. On to next week, which is season 8, episode 8. It's got a nice ring to it. We will go again. We are fast approaching the end of this season, so that's exciting. And I don't think I've got anything else to say, so it's a goodbye from me, bye-bye, and a goodbye from him.
Bye!
See you in the next one. Sequel to this one. Have a great week. Bye-bye. Your bye cut off again because of the Zoom. Because it's so good at cutting off loud words or whatever it does.
I recorded it my end. It's all good.
I think it still records it.
Oh, okay. Just stops you hearing it.
Yeah, it's like if you play music, I won't be able to hear the music or whatever Zoom does.
Zoom is clever.
Zoom is much cleverer than me.
I'm going onto Sam's website now and I'm buying his Rocky posters. I've just seen them.
Oh, God.
Bundle of 4 Rocky posters. I'm having them.
They look great on your wall. If we ever get a studio, we should just buy loads of prints for all these people. And then
we definitely should. Yeah.
Dream big, kids. It might happen.